What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're taking a look at the Custom Knife Factory Sukhoi 4.0. But before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out. So Custom Knife Factory, they're one of their dealers in here in the US. It's NC Blade, and I want to give a huge shout out to NC Blade, just because the first version of this knife that I got, and you can see I'm a big fan of NC Blade. This is every order I've had from them. The first version, the first knife that I got from them, the first Sukhoi, it had a detent problem, and I have many Custom Knife Factory knives, and I've had problems with none of them. That one, I think, was just kind of an outlier. I have no reason to believe that it's anything systemic. I think they produce extremely good, high quality knives. And as soon as I contacted them, I told them that I had a problem with it. They put one aside for me, and then they sent me the replacement knife before I sent my knife to them. So that's outstanding customer service. So a huge shout out to NC Blade, because they are a small shop, but they are outstanding at what they do. So give them a check. I'm gonna leave the description link to their site in the description. I am not affiliated with NC Blade. They're not paying me anything to do this. I am a customer for them just as anybody else. So anyways, I just wanted to give them a shout out, and if I can get all this stuff out of the way, we can get started with their review. So the Sukhoi 4.0, it's kind of a weird thing, because some time ago I did my Custom Knife Factory brand overview, and in that brand overview, I went over the Evo 2.0, the Rampage, the Satori, and all of the ones that I had at the time. I still have most of them, but one of the comments that I got is that you can't do a Custom Knife Factory review or brand overview without including a Malichev design. And my problem at the time was that when I got into the knife hobby, they hadn't released any new of his designs, right? So this is by Anton Malichev. So this is the Sukhoi 4.0, and let me give you a tour of the knife. So this is not a small knife. It's probably one of the longest blades I own. You've got M398. Let me see if I can get you close enough. Yeah, right here, M398. This is serial number 361. And what you've got here is a very cool design, at least in my opinion. You've got this very nice, very useful blade, right? You've got kind of a deployment groove here. You have Damascus around the pivot. I like it when they do that as an accent. I think it looks really good. And then you have, it's a titanium frame lock, but it's got this carbon fiber inlays that are milled. Hopefully the milling will come across. And then in the back, like I said, a titanium frame lock. You've got a Damascus pocket clip. You got a pivot collar in the back, and you have kind of this kind of full length back spacer. So it's a very, very, very interesting knife. It is both a flipper and a spidey flick deployment. So yeah. Oh, and at the time of releasing this video, these are still available from NC Blade. So if you want one of these, go check it out, okay? But like I said, this is not a small blade, okay? So let me give you a size comparison, because that's what's gonna really tell you. That's a PM2, and that's a PM3. So a very, very, very long blade here. I'm gonna compare it against a ruler here, just so you give you an idea. So a little over 4-inch long blade. Okay, so this is a big boy. So if you're looking for something that's that's a little bit more discreet, if you don't need that much blade, then this is not the knife for you. But if you're looking for something, if you have big bear paws, then this is probably the knife for you. That's against the full-size bucket. That's against the mini bug out. It falls down to a relatively compact size, and obviously this is taking into account that it is a 4-inch blade, right? But as you can see here, it doesn't feel in the pocket too dissimilar from the Para 2, but it is longer. It is it is a little bit wider than the PM2, and it feels substantial in the hand. But I think it's proportional. It's a little bit thicker, but it's for such a long knife. I think that the proportions are pretty darn good. So again, this is a Custom Knife Factory knife. This is the 4th version that they do of this knife. You can see the Custom Knife Factory logo here. And let me start by talking about the action. So the first version of the knife, or the first knife that I got, it had insanely strong detent, and it wasn't me putting my fingers on the lock bar, and it wasn't me doing anything, like even just me trying to pry it open, I wasn't able to really do it. So something was off with that version of with that specimen, I should say, because this one that I got, the action is just phenomenal. It's a longer blade, so the drop shot is very, very nice. It's very controlled. It feels very smooth. The deployment, the Spidey flick is very satisfying. The flipper tab is also very satisfying. I think that the action is pretty darn good on this one, guys. I think that you get a very crisp detent. It's not a weak detent. It's very, very hard to try and fail this. Like even me just trying to very slowly trying to, it's very hard to fail it. It's very hard to fail it. The action on this one, I think, is very, very, very good. Like I said, especially if you do a Spidey flick, I think my preferred deployment method is always a flipper tab, and this one's very comfortable. I like, when it's not hooky and they've got some jimping so you don't fall off of it, and it deploys very well. For me, the Spidey flick is a little bit better just because it's so long that when I hold it in this position, the blade is so long that it kind of brushes up against the palm of my hand over here. And maybe it's just the way I hold it, but that's how I kind of naturally, my hand falls in that position when I hold it. So it's much more convenient for me to deploy it using the Spidey flick. Action, very, very good. Probably one of the best Custom Knife Factory actions that I've had. Kind of like the Evo 3.0, kind of in that neighborhood. I think that the sounds on this one is probably a little bit better, but anyways, I think the action is really, really good. Now, ergonomics, it feels very good in the hand. I wouldn't say that it melts in your hand, but I would say that it's comfortable and there's no hot spots on it. And it's a little bit weird because I think this is made for a hand that is bigger than mine. I wear large gloves, and if you can see, there's like this concave area right here that's, I'm guessing it's meant for 2 fingers, but the size of my hand, I end up with my 3rd finger right at the hump. So if I separate my hand a little bit, it's a little bit more comfortable, and I think that's the way I usually hold it. Mostly in a saber grip. But as you can see, this is a big knife. I mean, I wear large gloves and my hand still leaves about 1 inch of knife hanging in the back. So if you wear large or extra large gloves or anything like that, then this is for sure gonna fit your hands. Okay, if you've got big old and you struggle to find a knife, if you think that the bug is just kind of like a kid's toy, then this is the knife for you. If you have medium hands or small hands, man, this is gonna feel like a sword in your hand, because it kind of feels like a sword in mine, and I wear large gloves. So I would say that the ergonomics are good. They're not, I don't think they're a strength of the knife, but I definitely don't think that I would say don't buy it because it's uncomfortable. I think that this is I would say that it's neutral. I think it's an average ergonomics, but I do think that if you have very large hands, that you have enough real estate here for your fingers, for all four of your fingers to fit in there. Now cutting. Cutting is a dream with this thing. It really is. It kind of surprised me a little bit. So this is a little bit thinner blade stock than the PM2. Okay, it's a little bit thinner, and you still get, I always say that one of the things that makes the PM2 such a good slicer is that you get a full flat grind from the top to the bottom. Well, that's kind of what you get here, right? Because you've got a full flat grind from about right here to the very edge. So this becomes fairly thin. So it's very slicey. Like going through cardboard, those kinds of things, it cuts very well. And you've got such a large flat here. It goes, I mean, the length of just the flat. I mean, forget about the belly, but just the flat. I mean, you're looking at a good 2.5 inches of flat. So when you're going through something, and you're trying to push through things, this is very good for in the kitchen. This is kind of more in the size of knife that you would. It's more in the size of a kitchen knife, right, where you need longer blades. So I found myself using it more for those kinds of things. So it is a great slicer. I think it surprised me a little bit how much I enjoyed cutting with this one, to be honest. M398, which is you lose a little bit of toughness, but you gain a little bit of edge retention from regular M390. I haven't had it long enough to tell you, that if the heat treat is, I've had it for probably 2 months, maybe thereabouts, and I've cut enough with it, but not sufficiently to say, yeah, the edge retention is better than M390. And I don't know that I'd be able to tell. I don't think my sensitivity to edge retention is gonna be that hard. I think I'll be able to better tell once I sharpen it to see, how it feels different from sharpening M390. So cutting, really good with this one. It's it feels nimble in your hands. It feels agile. Like I said, they use fairly thin blade stock, which is it's not something that they've done in the past. I think they did it with the Philippe Georget, the fifth, I want to say the 520. They used that thin blade stock, but all of the other ones, the Evo 2.0, the Satoris, the Snafu, all of those are a little bit thicker. So here they went with a thinner, I think. Nick Shabazz would be proud. Let's just say it like that. Now, fit and finish. Fit and finish is outstanding. I want to be very clear that I did have a detent problem with the first specimen that I received, but I have every reason to believe that was an outlier. I checked with other people on the forum of Custom Knife Factory, and I can tell you that this new version of the knife that I got it's outstanding. So I do have to tell you that I have to be honest in my review and say that as far as fit and finish, I did have a sample that wasn't outstanding. But again, the people at NC Blade, they responded immediately. They exchanged it immediately, no questions asked. Like I said, they sent me the knife before I sent mine back to them, which is kind of not even Amazon does that kind of thing. But the fit and finish on this one is just outstanding, and there's a lot of things going on, right? All of these inlays, all of this milling, all of these little chamfers that you see everywhere. You can see even the pivot. Let me see if I can get you close. It's not a full round pivot. It's like a triangular version instead of a circle kind of thing. So hopefully that's coming across. And that is just outstanding. I think that the fit and finish on Custom Knife Factory knives is really good. I wanna put them, like, if I had to say, like, I would say Shirogorov, and then maybe Koenig, and then they're kind of right there. They're probably a little bit better than Riot, but not quite at the level of a Koenig, kind of in there. I think that their fit and finish is amazing. The materials that they chose, that they chosen for this are really, really good. And like always, one of the nice things about is you get spare parts, right? You get an extra pivot, you get extra hardware, you get extra bearings, all of that stuff with your knife pouch. I think it's something really good. It just allows you to believe that you're gonna have this knife for a very long time. This knife is about $650 or thereabouts, and again, it's available right now. So that's kind of it. So airing of grievances, man, I don't know the stats on the previous version of the knife, but I would love to have a compressed version of this, a 3¼ inch blade version of this knife, right? Something that is 3/4 inches shorter this way, 3/4 inches shorter that way, and to keep everything else the same. I think that would make for that it's almost like they made a knife for me, right? Just for my preferences. It's got really usable, very utilitarian blade. It has thin blade stock. It's very well made. It's M398. I think it's got a lot of really, really good things going for it. Well, guys, hopefully this has been helpful. If it has, then like and subscribe. Don't hit the bell. Nobody likes to get notifications. Nobody in the world likes to get notifications. If you think that I earned your subscription, then subscribe. And until I see you at the next one, take care.